Welcome to Plus Size Stories. This podcast basically is here to allow people who are on a weight loss journey tell their own story in their own words without the exploitation that happens with regular TV shows. So tonight we talk about, but we talk to Kate, a 40-year-old woman from the Berkshires in Massachusetts. She's been losing weight for about 10 years or so, pretty seriously, and you are not going to believe her journey. So, that being said, let's get right to it. Here's Kate for episode 4 of Plus Size Stories. Welcome once again to Plus Size Stories, where we talk with people who are on a weight loss journey and find out a little bit about them as people, just like you and I. So, with me today is Kate, a 40-year-old woman from the Berkshires of Massachusetts who has been basically on her weight loss journey for the last 10 years. And boy, wait till you get a hold of, or get a listen to anyway, of her story. It's pretty darn incredible. So, Kate, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So why don't we go ahead and jump right in and tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit about your background and how you came to be on a weight loss journey.
Okay, well, I grew up in a family, all of us were overweight. My mom and dad, my mom was over 500 pounds herself. Um, she was deprived of food as a kid, so she made sure that everybody had seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths.
Right.
And so growing up, everything revolved around food. So, of course, as a teenager, I was about 250 pounds. And when she passed away at 59, that's when I was 22, and that's when I really started gaining the heavy weight. Um, I grew up in with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and um, I'm going to be talking about a sensitive subject, which has a lot to do with also why I gained weight.
Sure.
Is I was sexually assaulted by an elder in the congregation. He's no longer alive, but I was told not to say anything because bad things would happen to my family.
Yep.
I really didn't talk about that till I was about 33 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I hid that inside of me and I chose food to be my comfort.
You know, I don't really want to interrupt you too much, but I have to say that's a heavy weight to carry around, and no pun intended. It's just it's a heavy thing to carry, for as long as you did. So kudos
Yep,
to you.
thank you. It was tough. It was a tough childhood. I also was born with a heart defect.
Hmm.
um or I had two holes, one in my ASD valve and one in my mitral valve, which needed to be repaired. But back then, back in the olden days, um they needed me to grow, so I couldn't have the surgery I needed till I was about 12 for the first one. I've had two heart surgeries.
Okay.
um I was spent a lot of time in the hospital growing up. Blood work every week, just a whole bunch of hospital stuff. So, adding that on to the stressors of everything else, I had my heart surgery when I was 12. Um, and I kept gaining weight, but I couldn't breathe, and doctors were saying that my parents were feeding me too much. And in all reality, I really wasn't eating because I was always so sick.
Hmm.
Come to find out, I was misdiagnosed and I had a very, very rare condition. It's rare in adults, but even more rare in children. It's actually a 1% chance of this happening. Is I wound up with constrictive pericarditis, where the pericardium or sac around the heart turns into thick, thick scar tissue and also becomes inflamed, and your heart can't expand. I was drowning in my own body fluid. I had 2 to 3 gallons of water in my lungs and in my body. I was over 300 pounds. I had to have emergency heart surgery, and um, I had died on the table a
Hmm.
couple times. They had to revive me, and I was in the hospital for 8 weeks. And within 8 weeks, I lost 150 pounds of body fluid, just fluid.
Sheesh. So
Yeah.
just is so this and again, what was the term for the heart issue?
Constrictive pericarditis.
Constrictive pericarditis. So is that in addition to the holes that you had, or was that the
Yes.
misdiagnosis?
That was the misdiagnosis. The holes were they knew about.
Oh, okay.
The first surgery caused the second needed surgery. It caused the complications.
Okay.
My heart just the pericardium just became inflamed, and I walked around with this for 2 years, and my parents were begging and pleading. Thank goodness I give all credit to Boston Children's Hospital. They are the best children's hospital I could ever talk about. They
Wow.
saved my life.
Okay.
So great hospital. So I was on heart medications and things, and I was a very rebellious teenager and everything, and I stopped my meds and didn't tell my parents. But come to find out, after that second heart surgery, my heart was fine.
Oh, okay.
Didn't need meds, didn't need any of that, you know. So moving on, just that added to the stressors of why I gained weight.
Right. Right.
So, I wasn't very much of a I didn't have a lot of friends. I wasn't allowed to have friends outside of the religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of my friends moved away.
Yeah.
So I was lonely. Food again was my comfort. You know, um, I had a lot of older friends. Like I'm talking people in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
It was weird, very weird. But my mom passed away. She was 59. She was 550 pounds. She had cellulitis that turned into sepsis.
Oh boy.
Um, she had very bad diabetes, and her sister told me that I was going to eat myself into the grave just like my mother did.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And yeah, it's great family experience altogether. I'm telling you. Um, so from that day forward, I basically proved her right, and I just started eating. And I got married. I skipped that part actually. Go back 2 years. Got married to someone who was 28 years older than me, my first marriage. Um, I was 20, he was 48, an alcoholic. Um, he was homeless, he had custody of his son, and he was going to lose custody if we didn't figure out a way. And I married him so that we could get housing and he could keep his son,
Mm.
which I basically raised. Um, it was not a good marriage. I was young and naive and just needed a way out, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So he was abusive and everything. So I dealt with that for 13 years, and amongst my mom passing away
Right.
and going back and forth with my health because I was putting myself on the back burner because my ex-husband was a bad diabetic, and he lost a leg and he had a heart attack and eventually wound up on disability, and I was his caregiver, and I was taking care of his son and two foster children all at once. And I really didn't give a care in the world about myself because I was busy taking care of everybody else.
So at this point in time, about how heavy were you?
I want to say my like between 26 and 27 years old, I was around 500 pounds.
Yeah, so that just adds to the stress of being a primary caregiver and dealing with just all the family issues at home as
Right.
well. All right.
To
So
a
I,
point
I just
where
wanted to kind of get some perspective on
yeah,
that because the whole
yeah,
picture includes you.
yeah, yep. I eventually wound up on disability myself
Mm-hmm.
because I just couldn't walk. I
Right.
was too big.
Yeah.
Um, I think when I got to my highest weight was basically when my stepson's mother moved up and she unexpectedly died, and I was friends with her. And my stepson is the one that found her. And so he had to come back and move in with us, and he was giving us problems, and police were involved and all this other stuff. And I kind of just started self isolating because I couldn't handle it anymore.
Sure.
I also have bipolar um, and anxiety. So I'm off my meds because I don't care. I'm eating food. I'm on Ambien and Ativan to help me sleep at night. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Ambien, but it's a sleep med.
Yeah, I'm
And
only familiar with the stories that I've heard.
yes,
So,
so I was on Ambien for 10 years. And I ate and I ate and I ate and I didn't even know I ate when I was on it. That was my thing. I didn't drive, thank goodness. Didn't drive. But, I was on Ambien until about 4 years ago.
hmm,
And so that didn't help my weight gain.
sure,
So with all of that, I wound up getting up to about my highest weight recorded that I can remember is 623 pounds. Now, I feel like it might have been higher, but I couldn't get on a scale that could read my weight.
sure.
So, everybody
Would
told
you
me
have gotten on a scale anyway? At your highest, do you think?
at some points I think I would have, and other points I just don't know.
Yeah, the reason I ask is when I started losing weight just last year, at least this final time, let's hope. I mean, that's the plan, right?
You're doing
Um,
great.
and thank you. So when I started, I was 368.8.
Hmm.
But I look at pictures from before that, as much as 2 years before that, and I hadn't been on a scale. And I swear I was heavier. I would bet my life that I was 400 pounds at that point. And so, um, yeah, and I know that at my heaviest, there was no way in hell I was going to be on a scale.
Right.
I would not have done that. And so that's why I'm asking if because I wonder if people think similarly. Like when you're
Right.
at your highest, do you think to jump on a scale, or do you say I don't need? I've got so many other problems. I don't even want to deal with that right now.
Right. Yep.
So
I think, when I knew I was 500 pounds, it was because I had started thinking about doing weight loss surgery. Um, and I had been to several doctors and I never, you know, followed through with it because they're like, oh, well, you got to lose some weight first. And you got to do this and you got to do that. And I wasn't ready. You have to be ready up here for it.
right,
And in 2010, wow, 18 years ago, um, we, I, me and my ex-husband had his oldest daughter move in with us because she was pregnant. And I helped raise that little baby until he was about 4 years old. Now, in 2013 is when I found out how heavy I really was. I'm going to go into my story of the real weight loss journey
sure,
um, right now,
yeah,
actually. It was a Sunday, and I love my step grandson very, very much. He was the light of my life. But I just was so tired and burnt out and bedridden, and I was giving up. My heart was not doing well. I don't know how my heart survived all of it anyway.
right,
But so moving forward, 2013, it was a Sunday, May 19th, 2013. Um, like I said, I took Ambien. And I had a thought in my head, sensitive subject, just to let you know, um, that night I was going to take all of my Ambien and just go to sleep. I was done. I was done with the abuse. I was done with being a burden on everybody else because I couldn't take care of myself. I had nurses and aides coming in because I had skin infections because I couldn't keep myself clean well enough. It was horrible. And
sure,
it just wasn't quality of life.
right,
It wasn't. I was done. And I think I was 2013. I was 31.
okay,
Um, my aide came in. She was gonna clean me up and everything, get me ready for the day. I'm in the bed and I had to wear my oxygen and BiPAP mask 24/7 because I just couldn't breathe. Um, and even with that on and my oxygen at the highest level, I was blue.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she goes, I need to call 911. Now, I didn't tell her what I was planning on doing that night. So, I said, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'll be okay. Just got to sleep it off. Right. And she looked at me. Her name was Amy. She looked at me and she just was like, she got down on her knees. She got in my face and she said, Kate, you have so much more to give in this world. You have a heart of gold. You have a story to tell. You have a grandbaby that loves you very much, and your life is worth living. You need to go to the hospital. I need to call 911. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's never going to leave. Plus, she's a mandated reporter. If she feels that there's something wrong, she has to do it
Right.
anyway.
Right.
So finally, I appeased her because I
She's
don't like
ruining
going.
your plans.
Right, exactly. Well, it wasn't only that, it was like it took two ambulance crews to get me in an ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I didn't want to have to deal with.
Right. Right. Right.
It's embarrassing. It's like, okay, I've been bedridden and shut in for 3 years, rarely ever going out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going out like this, really? You know? So I went, and the doctor said, it's a good thing you're here because in about 12 hours you wouldn't be. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you'd be dead. Little did he know what I was going to do.
Right.
So they put me on IV Lasix. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Lasix.
I
But
am.
Lasix is a diuretic,
Yep.
and IV Lasix is extremely strong. But I told the doctor, I'm like, there is no way I'm taking that Lasix until you put a catheter in me because there's no way. They even tried to get me up out of the bed, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
So they put a catheter in, and literally someone had to sit next to me in the next to the bed because every 6.5 minutes the bag was full of just urine.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
much fluid I had on me. That's why I was turning blue. That's why,
Right.
it was reminding me all again of my childhood with the surgeries and everything. So I was there 5 days and I lost 120 pounds.
So what you're learning
Um,
is going into the hospital, you can lose weight.
yes, yes, you can. You can.
Oh.
Um, so they gave me some choices while I was there. They're like, we can send you home. You can go back to your old habits and wind up back here again. Or there's a bariatric program, not weight loss surgery, but bariatric program at a nursing home here in the Berkshires. And they have an exercise program and a diet plan of healthy eating, helping you learn how to cook and eat healthy for yourself.
Now, just because I just learned that these bariatric programs exist, and they're not all about the bariatric surgery stuff.
Right.
I
This
like
had nothing to do
I
with
had
surgery.
no idea. I had no idea until I don't know somebody mentioned it in the weight loss community on TikTok,
Yep.
and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I
Yep.
found out all about it, and it was like, "That's brilliant. Why don't more people know about that?" I mean,
Exactly.
it's yeah, okay.
It's sad. And the program that was here is no longer there.
Oh, okay.
I literally, me and maybe one other person was their success story.
Okay.
Um, so I decided to go to the nursing home and they let me just rest that day when I got there. And then the next day, my physical therapist, who I called my drill sergeant,
Mm-hmm.
and she took me upstairs to the PT room and she goes, all right, I want you up out of that wheelchair and I want you to stand for as long as you possibly can. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, I haven't stood in I don't know how long, and I'm weak, and I'm trying to make all these excuses. And she goes, just do it. I don't care how long it takes or how long it is.
Right.
About maybe 8 seconds, and I had to sit back down.
Yeah.
And she worked with me every day for an hour and a half. And she got me to a point where I was walking behind my wheelchair, pushing the wheelchair.
Okay.
Then she got me walking with a wheeled walker, laps around the outside of the nursing home. While I was there 3 months. OT helped me learn how to stand in the kitchen and cook at the stove. They had a little kitchenette and everything and all the proper foods and whatnot. It was really intense. And I know I lost, let's see, I lost 120 in the hospital. I lost another 80 pounds during that 3 months.
Okay.
Um, and during that time, they suggested that I go to um, one of the sessions to look into gastric bypass
Okay.
or bariatric surgery.
So just I really do want you to continue, but I want to make sure want to try to get some clarity on this because I'm trying to picture everything.
Okay.
What is going on? Well, I have two major questions. One, at what point in this process did you decide that you no longer wanted to take Ambien at night? If you catch my meaning, I'm trying to be
Yes.
sensitive about the whole thing.
Right.
Um,
Well, my step grandson came to visit me in the hospital. Excuse me, the nursing home.
okay.
And obviously, I wasn't at the house to have the Ambien to take that night, so
Right.
that kind of helped. And I was feeling better the next couple of days because I could actually breathe.
Right.
But my step grandson came to visit me in the nursing home, and he had just started running. And I'm like, I want to chase him.
Right.
I want to play with him. I want to do all these things with him. And how can I if I don't get this weight off me? So
Okay.
that kind of was the start of, okay, I can move around now and I can at least walk. So I'm just going to keep going. And I'm not a quitter. Once I get going, once I get that habit, that routine, all of that stuff, I'm going, going, going. And I don't stop.
Okay.
And that right there kept me from, although even after I lost weight, I still took Ambien at night, but it was less and controlled.
Okay.
I told my stepdaughter to administer the Ambien for me because I didn't want to have those thoughts in my head anymore. And I also started seeing a therapist.
Good. Good. Okay. So that brings me to the second question, which is, so while you're 3 months in this nursing home, what's going on at home? Home.
That's a good question because my ex-husband was home and his daughter was taking care of him, but he started drinking again, and because he had been sober for a few years, um, basically because he had one leg and we weren't taking him to the beer store.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so, he did what he did, and I could only focus on myself at that time,
Okay.
you know, and so that's what I did. I
All
just
right.
focused on
Yeah.
myself.
I just wasn't sure if he was in the picture during this whole time
He
or
still
not.
was
Okay.
not like he came to visit me, but basically just slept the whole day because he was on some pretty heavy pain medication, and there was some addiction issues there. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, so now you've been recommended to go to the gastric bypass program, and
Hmm.
so what happens then?
So I go to the I'm trying to think of what the word is, but it's seminar. There we go. That's the word. Seminar to learn about weight loss surgery. I already knew pretty much everything there was to know about it because I was looking into it for years.
Sure.
Um, but this time was a little different. I had already lost 200 pounds, and I was like, okay, this would be the next step that I need to keep going. Um, so I went to the seminar. It was great. Made an appointment to see the doctor. Okay. At this point, by that time, I'm back home. The insurance wouldn't pay anymore for me to be in the nursing home. I was too healthy.
Sure.
Go figure.
Well,
um,
to be fair, you were a lot healthier when you left than when you went in.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And
yeah.
you know what's funny, and not funny, but interesting is when I got back to my apartment, I said to my stepdaughter, I'm like, you're helping me take all of that crappy food out of this house. And we lived in disabled housing,
Okay.
uh for elderly and disabled. So we brought all the canned goods and everything like that downstairs to the community room to donate for everybody else to take. And I said, I'm not eating any more canned food. I'm not eating, it's going to be fresh vegetable. And that's what I stuck with. I stuck with healthy food through the whole process. When I got home, I said, if I don't do this now, I am going to go back to my old habits.
Right.
And my ex-husband tried to sabotage me so much. He would come home with like bags of Skittles and chocolate and all this other stuff, trying to get me to eat, because I think he felt like he was losing me.
Ah, okay.
He's the one that fed me. He always cooked. He was a chef. So um he cooked for an army, literally, because he did cook in the army. Um So yeah, I did that. I went to see the doctor, and I'm excited. I'm like, okay, because this doctor's in Pittsfield. It's great. I'll go have this surgery, get it done, and just start my new life. Blah blah blah. Well, the doctor said, well, I'm not real comfortable with the fact of your heart history and so on and so forth. I'm going to refer you to a doctor in Worcester,
Okay.
which is like what, 2 hours away,
Right.
something like that. That hospital is bigger and has more, if there's an emergency, blah blah blah, they can help you with your heart. Well, that wasn't the case. He just didn't want to damage his numbers if something should have happened.
Mm.
So I was really disappointed because now I have to wait even more.
Right.
And I didn't even get in. That was in August that I met with that doctor, August of 2013. I didn't get an appointment to see the actual doctor that I had until like December. So I'm like panicking.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna gain weight again, so on and so forth. But believe it or not, I actually kept losing weight. And it was because I was more active. I was We had our first snowfall, and I'm outside with my grandson in the snow running around. Well, not so much running, but you know what I mean.
Active. You were active.
Active. I
Yeah.
was very active, and I was going out and I was driving again. I was doing all the things, that a normal person. I wasn't isolating anymore. I wasn't in the bed anymore. And I think that's one main reason why I have to keep going, 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 and never stop, because I feel like if I stop just for a day, I'm gonna gain 600
Yeah.
pounds.
Right.
You
Right.
know. So, for me, it was fear.
Yeah.
Fear kept me going. Um,
And at this point,
I
you're
had
you're
come
what,
far.
375, 400, somewhere in there.
I was 400. I was like 400 and I was 430 for my first appointment with the doctor.
Okay.
And he said I went to Worcester, and he said I needed to do their 6-month program. 6 month? Yeah, I think, well, from October to March,
Right. So almost
whatever that
almost
was.
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to see psychiatrists. I had to go to weekly meetings, which was actually in Palmer, so it was a little closer, a little past Springfield. Um, and I had to continuously lose weight or maintain. I could not gain, except for maybe like 3 or 5 pounds because of water weight and stuff.
Right. Right.
Of course. So I just kept going, and then I went to, back when I had my heart surgeries, there was a place, cardiac rehab, in the hospital, and they had a maintenance program there, and I still qualified to go because of my heart. So I started going there,
Okay.
and getting on the treadmill and working out and everything, and just getting myself moving more. And that helped me through the winter until March when I saw the doctor. Um, Maybe it was April. But anyway, I continued to lose weight. It was like 3 to 5 pounds every other week.
Okay.
So by that time, when I went to see the doctor to see whether he was going to give me a surgery date or not, my weight was 400
Okay.
on the dot. And he said, "All right." He goes, "You've lost about another 30 pounds." He's like, "I think we're going to schedule your surgery." And I'm like, this like
Yeah.
euphoria comes over me and I'm like crying.
Of
And I'm
course.
like, I said, I haven't been, and to me, I was small because, 600
Right.
pounds, is a hell of a lot. Um, so I was so excited, and it's like, it's going to be May 9th, 2014. So that was a big day. And surgery day, I was 385.
Okay. So you continued to
And
lose a little bit until
yes,
then. Yeah.
yep. And it was a nerve-wracking day. My sister and brother-in-law took me, and with my ex-husband, but they left and I was there alone. And one of the things that I had told the doctors was not to give me morphine because I get really, really sick on morphine. Well, they didn't listen. They gave me a pump, and my family wasn't there to tell them no. And I didn't know it. And they're just telling me to push the button. That's my pain med. And I couldn't keep any liquids down.
Yeah.
So I had to stay like an extra 3 days or something like that to get the morphine out of my system.
Right.
So that was the only major complication I really had. Um, and like from that day forward, I want to say in less than a year, maybe 8 months, I got down to 196 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
Because I just followed the program. And it's weird because I didn't exercise. I really didn't exercise. I exercised beforehand,
Sure.
but after, it was just the food,
Well,
it was,
and that's what
you're
they
eating
say.
this much.
80% of your weight loss comes from food. So
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
and then when you have bypass on top of it, where you can't even eat that much food. Yeah.
Right. Yep. And and the first year you drop a lot
Sure.
quickly. And then it's like, okay, how do I maintain this now? And I didn't do what I was supposed to.
Okay.
And then I was going through the divorce with my first husband, because he started treating me like, he kept saying I was going out and cheating on him and things like that because I was out and about and I was got a job. I hadn't had a job in 10 years. I was a cashier at the grocery store down the street. It was something I was very proud of because I had never been able to work
Right.
like that. So
So clearly,
during
he's
all that
he's dealing with
time,
some insecurity issues of his own.
yes, yes.
Yep.
Um, and so his drinking got worse,
Mm.
and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I separated from him, moved in with my dad for a little while. Um, but that wasn't going well either. So that's a whole other story that I won't get into. But
Sure.
I met John,
Yep.
and he also had gastric bypass, and he had it 1 month before me, to the day,
Did you meet him in
April
the
9th.
program?
He lived in the same building as me,
Oh. Okay.
3 floors up. And then we saw each other in the cardiac rehab because he was going there as well. It just all coincidental with that.
Interesting.
And then finding out that he was going through the weight loss surgery. So we kind of like, I was still married. I was still living with my ex, but we were, talking, chit chatting, saying hi to each other, nothing other than that. But when I separated from my ex husband, uh, that's when I started dating him, and I moved in with him within 2 weeks.
Mm.
And it was just a whole bunch of stuff. I wound up regaining weight, 90 pounds, um, because I just got comfortable. We were going out to eat all the time, and, food, 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 junk food,
Would you
all that
say
other
that you
stuff.
were generally happy during this period of time?
I was. I
Yeah,
was.
I wonder, like when we get happy and comfortable, we tend to let down our guard a little bit, right? Particularly when
Yep.
it comes to food. Particularly when it
Yep.
comes down to food, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, I could tell that you were gonna say that, just because
Absolutely. Yes.
things were going
Comfort.
well. Things were going
Yes.
well.
Somebody that loves me and blah 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 and so on and
Yeah,
so forth. And we're just kind of going with the flow. I got my divorce. He proposed to me a year and a half later. And like I wasn't so much worried about my weight anymore because I was happy until I wasn't.
right.
I looked at a picture of myself at my job that I do now in 2019, and I was at 285 pounds
Hmm.
from 196. So I was like, damn, damn.
Yeah,
So I said, okay, this was in December. I said, January 1st, I'm going to start going to the gym.
right.
I'm going to go every day. And I did. I started going. It was great. I had lost about 30 pounds from January to March,
Hmm.
and then COVID happened and everything shut down.
Right.
And I regained that 35 pounds because I quarantined in a house for 30 days with the job that I work.
Yep.
And I had to eat whatever they had, and it was hard to get food in the first place delivered to the houses.
Right.
So once things started opening back up, and the quarantine I was in let loose, um, it was July of 2020,
Hmm.
and I said, I got to do something. I can't go to the gym yet; they're not back open yet. What am I gonna do? And so I started walking. Took my dog for a walk 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't stop until I got 5 miles in every single day. And I lost, so I regained 90. I lost probably 50 pounds from July till November, and then it was too cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, now what do I do? What do I do? I'm freaking out. Gyms, I still don't feel comfortable going to the gym. And,
Right.
you know, so I started doing Leslie Sansone Walk at Home.
Okay.
It's you walk in place and you're doing aerobic exercises. I hadn't really looked into weights yet or anything like that. I was just kind of trying to get the cardio in, burn some calories, and see if I can get somewhere with it. And it was slow going. I maybe lost 20 pounds, and then I was like, this is not working. So I joined Beachbody, and I did Beachbody for about 2 years. And that's really where I got down. I think the lowest I got. So I lost another 20 pounds. So that was 70 pounds. So I lost another like 15 up and down because I wasn't consistent.
Right.
I wish I had been. But I got down to about 205 pounds.
Yep.
I was like real close. And I had a tummy tuck last year, January 2022. And I had done a 365-day workout thing where
Y-
I exercised every single day, and I did it. I did it. I was so proud of myself. I was ecstatic that I could get it done, you know. And then I went and I had a lot of excess skin on my belly, and it was in the way.
Yeah.
So I went for a tummy tuck. I had it done, and I couldn't work out for 9 weeks.
Yep.
And even after, I could only lift like 10 pounds at a time. I was not happy, but it got me out of my routine.
Right.
And so last year, I really didn't do any exercising, and I got up to 248 pounds.
Okay.
So just because I want to let people know, just because you have weight loss surgery doesn't mean you can't gain. It
What? I've
can.
never heard of people
It can
regaining weight after
happen.
weight loss surgery. Unfortunately, it's all too common, right?
It
It
is.
just happens. Yeah.
but you know you have that tool, and the tool is not what's failing.
Right. Right.
This is what's failing.
You.
Your mind, your mindset. This is where you, this is what you need to continue on. You have to have the right mindset. You have to want it. You have to exercise.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% need to exercise to maintain or to continue to lose, because now that I have my routine back and I'm seeing all of the differences now, because I dropped, see, I was 240, I was 243 in March. That's when I really started training at the gym. Till now, I've lost 30 pounds, 35 pounds, somewhere around there.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I think that I'd probably be less heavy if I wasn't gaining muscle. Like,
Sure.
because I'm shrinking, but the muscle is keeping the scale right at the same poundage, which drives me nuts. But I know that size wise,
Well, but you
I'm
see a
going
difference
down.
in yourself, right?
I
You see a
do.
difference in your shape, in your size. So, yeah, and honestly, I just started my own strength training, muscle building program. So I have a goal weight, but if I don't get to that weight, there's going to be other reasons, and I'm okay with that. Like I've already come to terms with my goal weight is my goal right now because I really don't even know yet. So,
Right.
um, so we are pretty much current now.
Yeah.
So, I like what people don't know who are listening or and watching is that like I we've been TikTok friends now for well
Quite a while.
pretty close to when I started. Like you were one of the very first
Yeah.
people I found, and
Yeah.
so for almost a year,
Yeah.
and so I will tell you that there are very few people, if any at all, that work as hard as Kate does. She just I mean I am in awe of your strength, both internally and externally. Um, uh, I just started going to the gym, and I can tell you that you could take me easily in the gym because I have baby muscles at this point, particularly my upper body. It's terrible. I can't. I just
Well, my
did.
upper body is horrible.
I
Horrible.
but I just did upper body today, or at least my push exercises today at the gym.
Yep.
I just like I'm sure there are 9-year-olds that can press better than I can. It's just bad. My
But you
legs.
know what? You got to start somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not disheartened,
Yeah.
but my legs strong like bull. You know why?
Well, if you think
Well,
about it,
we had to carry around all that extra weight, and
exactly.
it matters.
It does. I mean, you don't think about that, but like my legs are the strongest muscles in my body right now,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. My upper body, I really have to work on. My shoulders are my weakest. Yeah, I see a lot of definition in my shoulders compared to anywhere else. And that's only because there's no skin there to hide it.
Right.
But my shoulders are very weak.
Well, but that's the
I
other part
struggle.
that the part that keeps me going is I know that my upper body is weak, which means the gains will be way more significant and faster because there's a
Exactly.
lot more to gain, right? So
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm not worried about that. So I guess now, like what people may not know is like I have everybody who comes onto this podcast fill out a little questionnaire,
Yep.
and in that questionnaire, excuse me, I got a tic tac stuck in my mouth. In that questionnaire, there is a section for goal weight, and so I know what you wrote, but what do you now what are you shooting for? What are you trying to do?
Dang, I don't even remember what I wrote for my goal weight. But, you know, I have a lot of goals. I'm going to some bodybuilding shows coming up, and I want to be under 210.
Yep.
for the end of this month. I don't know if it'll happen, but if I can be as close, either 210 or in a size 6,
Okay.
which I'm very close to, surprisingly. I don't know how that happened, but I'm in a size 8 now and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
So, um, but for my birthday, which is December 4th, I want to be under 200
Okay.
and I want to be more muscular. So those are my two goals. I don't know what I wrote in there for my goal, but at least by December 4th, I want to be under 200.
Okay. So, so we talked a lot about your exercise and the fact that you once you were able to move, you moved. It feels like you moved constantly, like
Yes.
as much as you possibly could because you found strength in that.
Yes.
What are you doing at the moment, food wise, in an effort to control your intake?
Food is always my struggle.
Sure.
Um, for the most part, I'm trying to dabble in intermittent fasting.
Okay.
I'm still trying to find my way with it. But I try to stick away from processed foods, anything canned, anything, I don't mind frozen vegetables. I'm okay with that. Frozen
Sure.
fruit. I have a lot of berries like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Blueberries I could eat all day long. I do a lot of Greek yogurt for breakfast.
Yep.
I try to stay with protein, 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 but I do know because I work out that I need carbs. Now that I work out in the afternoon, I try to have my carbs right after I work out,
Yeah. Okay.
um, which fuels the body. So in the morning, I'll have like a yogurt and some blueberries for my healthy carb. Might have a piece of whole wheat toast with some unsalted peanut butter,
Okay.
natural peanut butter. Um, Lunchtime, usually I stick to a meat and a vegetable and maybe a little bit of brown rice,
Right.
depending. But I try to keep my portions the way it's supposed to be with gastric bypass because it still works.
Sure.
My stomach still tells me, hey, you need to stop. Especially if I eat slowly.
Right.
It I'm a fast eater sometimes, and if I have meat and I eat too fast, it's not a good mixture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. Um,
And
I
you're
don't
not using any
surprise
kind of
myself.
oh, that's good. That's really good. And
Yeah.
you're not using anything to track your food or anything like that.
No, I was with the beach body thing, but I don't have the patience. I don't write it down. I was trying the My Fitness Pal. I tried the Lose It app, and I'm just like, no, you know what? I'm working out every day. Well, 5 days a week now because I work doubles on Mondays and Wednesdays. But um, I'm working out and I'm working out hard, and I know I'm eating healthy foods, and I know that I'm losing sizes. So if I feel like I'm in a stall, a plateau, I might start tracking my food to see what I'm doing that I can change to try and kickstart it again.
That sounds reasonable. At least you'll have real data, right?
Yeah,
So that's great. And for people who
yeah,
don't know, because somebody commented on this on the last podcast, MyFitnessPal you mentioned and Lose It. Those are both food trackers. There you can get them in the app stores. I believe there are also PC apps for them as well.
yeah,
But they allow you to track your food. And calories and all the macros that you might want to track. I
yeah.
personally use Lose It. I track everything down to to the milligram, or
I know
to
you're amazing, but I
no. I just that's just my process. Like there are
yeah,
many
yep,
processes, right? So
there are,
yeah,
there are.
so cool. So that sounds great, and it sounds like you are in a good place now in terms of like your progress and your plan and your program moving forward. I love that for you so much. I am so happy that you're in a much better place now, and I know that you had been putting a bunch of workout videos online, and you cut back from the video end of things. I know you haven't been cutting back on workouts really as much.
Yeah,
Um,
so I'm going to mention some stuff, but I'm not going to mention a lot of detail. There's a lot going on in my life right now. And a lot of it started with being told that I shouldn't be putting my body out there in workout clothes for everybody to see. And then they got mad at me because I'm going to the gym all the time and stuff and posting it and so on. So I respected that person's feelings, and I'm, giving updates every now and then.
Right.
But I may in the future, because I'm doing online schooling to become a personal trainer and certified nutritionist. Um, there might be some workout videos coming
Sure.
back.
Sure.
I haven't decided fully yet, but I think in the near future you might see some more TikTok videos and things.
That's fantastic.
Um,
I look forward to them because I can see how much you enjoy making those videos. So
I
so
do.
uh, so when you stopped doing that, that made me a little sad because I know that wasn't what you actually wanted to do.
Right.
And again, no details. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
We
Just
are
know that there will be some in the future.
right. So we are
Right.
getting to time a little bit, but I ask everybody this: if you had one piece of advice for someone just starting their weight loss journey, what would it be?
Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Love yourself enough to know that you are worth it.
I
You are worth it. It's there's so much to life. I'm giving you the same exact advice that they get that aide gave to me. Don't give up on yourself, because this world needs you in it. And if you are going to choose food over that, it's not worth it. Don't do it. It just keep moving, keep going, and you're going to have your bad days and you're going to have a lot more good days. But we got to fight. We got to beat obesity. Don't give up.
I love that so much. So before we close, I do have one more question for you, and that is, would it be okay if we followed up in another year? It won't be a year, but it'll be for next season. What I want to do is follow up with people that I've interviewed for this
Sure.
season. I
Absolutely.
knew you'd say yes, but I have to ask.
I know.
All right, Kate, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Please let people know where they can find you online.
Okay, I am on TikTok, Irish Queen 1204. Um, I'm on Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry, I just gave you my Instagram one. That's Irish Queen 1204. TikTok is Kate the Irish Queen. I do have a Facebook, just Kate Ryan. Um, and you can find me all on there. I have emails. If you want to email me, just DM me on those accounts and you can find me there. Um, I am an open book. I am willing to talk to anybody about anything that comes to being super morbidly obese, to weight loss, to fitness, to anything. I am here for support. So,
Well, thank you so much, Kate. I really appreciate it, and I know people who listen will very much appreciate it as well. Thank you for taking the time today, and we will see you over on TikTok, where I always see you.
yes, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a great time, and we will talk to you later.
All right.